Hello everyone, Keith Anthony Blanchard here, spiritual teacher, best-selling author, and radio show host of Center of Light Radio. Airs every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and you can find that at centeroflightradio.com. Today's burst of light is the master key. What is the master key or the master keys? That would be passion and sincerity. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm probably the most passionate person they've ever met when it comes to doing something that I'm really wanting to do with my life. But you can be too. What is the payoff? Everything you've ever wanted. Many years ago, when I was coming out of a 10-year relationship, a breakup after 10 years, the girl I thought I was in love with, it was so fear-based for me, that dissolved. And I found myself in a dark night of the soul, an all-time low. I had nothing. I absolutely had nothing. And I realized that at some point in my life, that back in my earlier years, when I was a teenager, I was going to pursue God. In fact, I was going to be a Catholic priest. But my dad puts an electric guitar in my hands, so God goes in the closet and the guitar stays out. But after this relationship dissolved, I realized that it's time for spirit, it's time for God, it's time for my best self. I was humble, I was put on my knees. And I remember saying this prayer, and it was a very fervent prayer. I was so passionate and sincere about it. Even though I asked this prayer 3 weeks to a month, I truly convinced that it was not the length of time that I said this prayer to convince God that I was serious about it. It was the passion and the wanting and the sincerity I had in my first asking. And what is that prayer, you may ask, is I need to hear your voice. Lo and behold, 3 weeks later, after a night of playing music, I was wakened up out of my sleep about 6 in the morning by a voice being spoken to me saying, "Good morning, Keith, it's time for you to wake up." So naturally, I'm waking up. There's no one in my room, no one in my house. Thinking that it was a dream voice and dismissed it as such, and proceeded to lay back in bed with the intentions of going back to sleep. And as I did just that, I hear, "Good morning, Keith, I asked you to wake up." Not only did the voice mean, "Keith, wake up out of your night's sleep," but it's time for you to wake up out of your human slumber. I was immediately thrown into the light, had a supra-conscious experience, a divine experience, an absolute experience. I was standing in the light. Everything the voice wanted from me, keep in mind when this voice spoke to me, yes, I did hear it audibly, but I saw the voice, I smelled the voice, I tasted the voice, I felt the voice. It was everything imaginable. It was in my shirt, it was in my hair, it was in my eyes, it was in my body, it was in the wall, it was in the bed. It permeated everything. And there was no time for fear. And I asked the voice, "What is it you want?" And the voice said, "Keith, go on your sofa, press record on your tape player, and let your mouth move. Everything will come." I did just that, and my mouth begins to move beyond my own will of doing so. So I began to record this experience for 8 years. Well, actually, I began recording the experience for the first year, and then the voice told me through meditation, "All right, Keith, that's enough with the writing. For the next years ahead, begin to use your thoughts, feelings, and your life experiences to refine and shape the book that is now the divine principle, anchoring heaven on earth." My point of telling you this story is, if through my asking God with the passion and sincerity I had, there is nothing that you cannot achieve through passion and sincerity. Passion would be the active. Sincerity would be the passive, the soft part in your heart. The passion would be the fire. Well, Keith, how do I go about getting that fire? The best way I can give you an example is, if you live your life slumped over, hunched over, no. Stand up. Stand up inside. Stand up with your body. Stand up with your posture. Stand up. It's an attitude adjustment. It can happen just like that. Trust me. I've been doing this a very, very long time and very proficient at it, as to why I do not have to have a job to live my life. When I was a young boy, my dad taught me that I don't have to do anything that I do not want to do ever. But though he did not know he was doing it consciously, the life lesson did apply by having me do yard work while my friends were playing on their bicycles on the street, building ramps as boys do and jumping them. And by the time my dad would say, Keith, when the work is done, you're ready to go play with your kids, friends, you can do just that. But until then, you're going to help me stay here and finish. And this was back in the days way before weed eaters, and you have to use a cane knife to edge around the yard. And finally, when my dad said, okay, Keith, the yard is finished, you're welcome to go, my friends' parents were calling them in for supper. And my playful day was done. I had no opportunity. And I vowed in that moment, after a period of doing this yard work with my father, when I get older, I will never do anything that does not bring me joy. That's the fire. That's the passion I have. And so what I'm asking you, supporting you in doing, is be it in meditation. Find that drive. Find the fire of spirit, fire in the belly, and sincerity in your heart, and the desire, and move into the window of your best life. Everything is there. Everything is there. You may say, Keith, again, I do not know how to do what it is you're asking. It's not your job to know how to do it. It's just your desire, your wanting, your food, your manna. It's your heart. It is the reason you were born. And when you move towards that passion and that reason and that life purpose, everything will unfold for you in ways you never thought possible. Passion and sincerity is the master key that will literally make God your slave, so to speak. God is the infinite wishing tree. He will support you in whatever it is you are asking, whether you know that you're asking or not. Your life is a prayer, whether you're doing it formally or unconsciously. Your life is a never-ending prayer. And the unconditional wishing tree, God, unconditional love, will grant you every wish, because God is the slave in your heart, because you are the master of your life. What I mean by God is the slave of your heart, I do not mean out of this arrogant posture. It's all about humility. Jesus washed the feet of Thomas when he was the Lord. Really? Yeah. Humility is the highway. Humility and vulnerability is that which will split you open to where your passion and sincerity will expand into the world and into the universe and grant you your every wish. Keith Blanchard, here today with Bursts of Light. I appreciate you. There's always more to come. Again, Center of Light Radio airs every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and you can find that broadcast at centeroflightradio.com. Peace, love, and light. Have a glorious day. Live in bliss.